There is no way I'm going to be able to hold up all of these books that I've hauled for the thumbnail of this video. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is going to be a fairly big book haul. I did not plan on buying this many books in the month of August, but lo and behold, we're here with a lot. I will say that 6 of these are from subscription boxes or special edition subscription type books that I pre-ordered a while ago and have just arrived. So I kind of justify it by like that. Like, I'm not spending the money right now. Although that being said, I have bought some more special edition books that will be coming in a few months' time. So I've still been spending the money. But anyway, I mean, I don't feel bad, to be honest. Like, the majority of these I actually have either already read or I do plan on reading in the more immediate future. So I'm doing quite well with buying stuff that I actually am going to read, hopefully. Some of them, like I said, some of them I've already read this month. I'm doing well with that. Right, without further ado, let's just start talking about the books that I bought this month. It's what you all came here to see, right? So the first book that I bought was Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. So I don't read a lot of middle grade, but here I am picking up a middle grade book. This was the middle grade monthly pick a few months ago, and I kept hearing everyone talk about it, and I was very intrigued. And then the paperback came out. It had pretty blue sprayed edges. It was on buy one get one half price in Waterstones. I picked it up with what I'm like, we know this. I am actually going to be reading this fairly soon though, because this has ended up being on my Bookopoly TBR, so you will see my thoughts on this soon. Basically, let me read you a little bit of the synopsis on the back so that we all have an idea of what this is about, because I don't really know. We know what I'm like for knowing what books are like when I go into them. But it says, Amari Peters knows 3 things. Her brother Quentin has gone missing. No one will talk about it. His mysterious job holds a clue. But then a strange invitation arrives. Amari has a chance to join the Magical Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, completing missions in a world where mermaids, aliens and magicians are real, and her roommate is a were-dragon. Secrets and surprises await Amari as she discovers her own rare and dangerous magical power, and soon she realises that the Bureau could hold the key to finding her brother. All she has to do is pass 3 tryouts. So it's like there's a mystery involved, but then also there's trials. I love trials in books. So I'm hoping that I love this one. We'll see. Maybe it's a middle grade that'll finally get 5 stars. So far it's not happened. Maybe this is it. We'll see. We'll see. The other one that I bought on that buy one get one half price is very much not a middle grade. This one is Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. This is an adult book. This one I, again, have had my eye on for a while. I kept seeing the hardback, but I wasn't interested in it enough to pay for the hardback version. And then it was the Waterstones book of the month this month, as was Amari, actually. They were both sort of the book of the month for their respective sections. And I have been hearing spoops talk about this one a lot, and it was sounding more and more intriguing, so I decided to pick it up because it was also on the buy one get one half price, because they were both the books of the month. So synopsis of this one, we have born in a bathtub in 1954 to a white mother and a Cherokee father. Betty inhabits a world of poverty and loss, of lush landscapes and blazing stars. Despite the hardships she encounters, Betty is resilient. Her curiosity about the natural world, her fierce love for her sisters, and her father's brilliant stories are kindling for the fire of her own imagination. And in the face of all to which she bears witness, the horrors of her family's past and present, Betty discovers an escape. She begins to write. So it sounds like it is about somebody being part Native American and sort of all that entails with the stories that she's been sort of passed down from her father, but then also about, I'm going to guess, some of the prejudice that she comes across as well, and she ends up using writing as an outlet, and it just sounds really intriguing. So I will hopefully get around to picking this one up soon, but I do know that this is the type of book that I'll buy and then put off for a while, but then eventually read and adore. So we'll get to it at some point. The next book that I got, I have actually already read. I ordered this one at the end of July, and then I read it at the beginning of August. So if you want to know my full thoughts, please do watch my wrap-up video that should have gone up before this one. But the book is on Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. So this is about a girl who joins the crew of a spaceship, and their job is basically to go and restore and fix beautiful broken structures. So they're like working on a museum for part of it. It's things like that. But it is also about her sort of coming of age story, and it has flashbacks to when she was at school and her first love and all of that. And then there is also some like political type storylines going on in here as well, but it is mainly just a sort of character driven storyline about this girl and sort of, yeah, a coming of age story. Definitely, I very, very much enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. I love some of the artwork in here as well. It's just stunning. So yes, very happy that I picked this one up. It's also the hardback version, which is also like a very beautiful cover. So happy that I got this one. Wasn't the cheapest, but I'm happy that I have it. The next book that I picked up is a sequel to a book that I read this month, because I read the first one and decided, yes, I will be carrying on with this 16-part series because I am a glutton for pain. In more ways than one, actually, because apparently these books do get very painful as they go along. That book is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. So this is the second book in the Farseer trilogy, which is also the second book in the bigger sort of Realm of the Eldling series, which is 16 books total. So like I said, a lot to read eventually. But this particular trilogy tells the story of Fitz, who is the bastard son of the Crown Prince, and he is one day left on his father's doorstep. His maternal grandfather has had enough of paying for him and decides it's time for his father to give it a go. But his father ends up abdicating the throne, and Fitz is kind of left at a loose end. No one really knows what to do with him, and then they decide to train him as an assassin because he is close enough to the royal family that he has an inn and can sort of like attend events and things like that, but far enough away that he can get away with doing slightly more nefarious things. And I very, very much enjoyed the first book, so much so that I immediately ordered the second. I plan on reading this one during the month of September. It is definitely chunkier than the first one was, so I don't know how long it's going to take me to read it, but I just enjoyed the world a lot. I really enjoyed the characters and the character building that Robin Hobb did. I was intimidated by sort of high fantasy, but I found that this was actually a really easy read for somebody who doesn't read a lot of fantasy. So this is not supposed to be a review, but I am enjoying this series in general, and that's why I picked this one up. And now we have the first of my special editions that came. So this month I got the Brown Sisters trilogy, the Illumicrate edition. So these are all hardback. They are usually only out in paperback, so I'm very happy to have a hardback collection. And also, yes, they do have the pretty sprayed edges as well. They're not like the most fancy books that Illumicrate's ever done. They don't have like anything hidden underneath the dust jacket or anything like that, but the first one does have a bound letter from Talia Hibbert, and then also each one has this little note that she has sort of digitally printed in there, and each of those is specific to the story itself, which I think is really cute. I feel like everyone pretty much knows what this trilogy is about by now because many people talk about it, but for anybody that doesn't, it basically follows 3 sisters. So we have Chloe Brown, Dani Brown and Eve Brown, Chloe being the oldest, Eve being the youngest, and they are all adult romances. So Chloe Brown is about Chloe, who has a near-death experience and basically decides that she wants to do more with her life there. She wants to take more risks. There's just things that she hasn't done. She's got a chronic illness and she feels like she's let it hold her back a lot, and she doesn't want that to happen anymore. So she creates this bucket list and she enlists the help of a guy who works at her building called Red to kind of help her out with that, and inevitably a romance happens. Then we have Dani Brown, which is a fake dating storyline. So Dani works at a university, I believe, and Zaf is a security guard there. And then something happens where basically he ends up carrying her out of what was potentially a burning building, the fire alarm's going off. And the video of that ends up going viral, and they kind of use that relationship that people are obsessed with online to their advantage. Fake dating, obviously eventually it's going to lead to real dating. We all know how romances go. And then we have Eve Brown, who is the youngest of the 3 sisters, and she's kind of got away with not really doing much all of her life. She's kind of flitted from one job to the other, not really knowing what she wants to do, and her parents decide that enough is enough and they're going to cut her off. She's got to go and make her own way in the world. So she ends up in a bit of a huff, driving out into the countryside, ends up at this B&B where she sees that they are advertising for a chef, I believe. The interview does not go well, and in trying to leave, she actually ends up in a car accident with the owner of the B&B, and he ends up injured, so she has to sort of stay and help out to sort of make up for what she did, essentially. And obviously, again, romance happens. I loved all three of these. I've read them all before, and I'm just happy to have an actual like pretty collection of them now. I think my favourite is, I know a lot of people's favourite is Dani Brown. I think my favourite is actually Eve. I just really love her as a character. But yes, I'm happy that I have all of these, and I probably will reread them at some point soon, to be honest. Next up, we have this one I have not read. This is just one that I picked up in Waterstones, and that is You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. So Emily Henry is the author of Beach Read, which I own on ebook and have not read yet. And I bought this with the intention of reading it over the summer, and then I haven't read it yet, and the summer's definitely coming towards an end, so we'll see what happens. But on the back of this one it says 12 summers ago Poppy and Alex meet, they hate each other and are pretty confident they'll never speak again. 11 summers ago they're forced to share a ride home from college, and by the end of it a pact has formed, every year one vacation together. 10 summers ago Alex discovers his fear of flying, Poppy holds his hand the whole way. 7 summers ago they get far too drunk and narrowly avoid getting matching tattoos in New Orleans. 2 summers ago, it all goes wrong. This summer, Poppy asks Alex to join her on one last trip. Could this trip make them realise they're not just friends after all? So essentially it is a sort of enemies to lovers sort of situation by the sounds of it. They very, or at least like intense dislike to lovers, because it sounds like they very much don't get on at the beginning, and then fate happens and they end up going on these holidays together every year. But I'm intrigued to see what happened, but it says it all went wrong. But yeah, I've heard good things about this one. I know I've seen some people reading it recently, and I've heard good things about Emily Henry's writing in general, so I'm happy to have this one as well. I also picked up in that Waterstones trip The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this one I have again had my eye on for a while and just never picked it up, but it was on another buy one get one half price offer. That's generally how I tend to buy things in Waterstones. It's generally how I end up with books that I'm like, oh, I think I'm interested in it, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll get it if I know I'm going to get it a little bit cheaper. So this is about a character who ends up inheriting a massive fortune from this eccentric billionaire, and nobody knows why, including the main character. She has just been left this, doesn't quite know why, but then she has to move into the mansion that she's inherited. Apparently is filled with secrets and codes and the old man's surviving relatives, a family hell-bent on discovering why Avery got their money. Now there's only one rule, winner takes all. Soon she's caught in a deadly game that everyone in the strange family is playing, but just how far will they go to keep their fortune? Intrigued by this. It's just, yeah, just sounds intriguing is the word to describe it. I know there is a sequel coming out soon. I think it's called The Hawthorne Legacy, but I thought I'd try and pick this one up and read it soon so that I can see if I'm interested in carrying on with it. I mean, I should probably start the first one before I even think about the sequel, really, shouldn't I? Speaking of picking up the first one before I consider the sequel, we have another book where I read the first one last month and have quickly picked up the sequel and will hopefully be reading it soon, and that is Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. So this is about a character called Nari who ends up accidentally summoning Dara, who is a Jim, although do not say that about him because he doesn't appreciate it, and then ends up finding out more about sort of their life and their connection to this world, and is taken to the magical city of Daybabad, and it all kind of goes from there. There's a lot of politics involved in it. I read the first one this month and very much enjoyed it. The only issue I had with it is that it took me a little bit of time to get into it, just because obviously I had to sort of get into the world at the beginning. I feel like now I am invested in the world, I will be able to enjoy this one a lot more because I don't have to go through any sort of world building. I'm just already invested. So hopefully this one, the other one was a 4.5 stars, hopefully this one is a 5 stars. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I had to pick this one up straight away because I'm very excited to continue with the series. It's trilogy, so I've got one more to buy after this, but I thought I'd buy them in stages. Some more Illumicrate special editions. These ones for a series that I haven't even read yet, but I didn't want to not buy them and then regret it, and that is Rebekah and Redemptor by Jordan F. Waco. So I cannot tell you anything about this series, to be honest. I've had my eye on it for a while, but I don't really know the synopsis. I just know that a lot of people love it, and yes, when Illumicrate announced these editions, I knew I wanted to get them because I'd rather have them on my shelf, and then if I don't end up liking the series, I can pass it on to someone else rather than miss out on it and then regret not having it later. So we have this beautiful edition, and look at the edges where we've got a nice ombre. Redemptor is also the same. We've got purple to blue, and then underneath we have sort of markings that match the cover of the book as well. Make like that. I'll just read the synopsis so we do have a little bit of an idea. It says, Tarasai has always longed for the warmth of a family. She was raised in isolation by her mysterious, cunning and often absent mother known only as the Lady. When Tarasai comes of age, the Lady sends her to the capital of the global empire of Aritza to be chosen as one of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. If she's picked, she'll be joined with the other council members through the Ray, a bond deeper than blood. But the Lady has other ideas, including a magical wish that Tarasai is compelled to obey. Kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. That actually sounds very intriguing. I'm glad that I read that. So, yes, I now have this series on my shelves and hopefully I do end up loving them. Another subscription box, I ended up signing up for Afterlight, which is Illumicrate's new adult romance quarterly subscription box, so I'll get these every 3 months. They are starting off as sort of paperback versions of the books, but I believe the idea is that if it's successful they will be able to build up to sort of the fancier special editions that we are used to seeing from Illumicrate. That being said, it is still an exclusive edition that we got this month, and it is of The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, so it does have the exclusive yellow sprayed edges and also has a book plate. Can we just appreciate how fancy Helen Huang's signature is? Like, that must have took some time and effort considering how many of those she probably had to do. But this is the third book in a companion series, so you don't have to have read all of them, but the characters do cross over a little bit. The first one was Kiss Quotient, the second one was The Bride Test, and then as I said, this one is the third. They all feature characters who are on the autistic spectrum and they are all adult romances. I have read the other two and I enjoyed them both, so I knew I wanted this one anyway, and when they announced the Afterlight box, they was heavily indicated that it would be this book, so I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up because I was going to buy it anyway. I'll tell you the synopsis on the back. It says, when violinist Anna Sun accidentally achieves career success with a viral YouTube video, she finds herself overwhelmed trying to live up to it, and when her boyfriend of 5 years announces that he wants an open relationship, a hurt and angry Anna decides to embark on a string of one-night stands. The more unacceptable men the better. Enter tattooed motorcycle riding Kwon Diep. Their first attempt at a one-night stand fails, as does their second and their third, because being with Kwon is about more than sex. But when tragedy strikes Anna's family, she takes on a role that threatens to destroy her. Now Anna and Kwon have to fight for their chance at love, but to do that, they also have to fight for themselves. Sounds good. I believe Kwon is the character that crosses over to the other books, because I remember him as being the brother of one of the main characters of the second one and the cousin of one of the main characters of the first one. I think that's the character who it is. But yes, I'm just very excited. I enjoy Helen Huang's writing. This one I'm actually possibly going to try and read before this month is out, because it is only the 28th at the minute, so I might try and read it in the next couple of days. We are getting towards the end, I promise. So next up we have two books that I'll just talk about together, and that is God's Grave and Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff. They should be that way around. But yes, these are the second and third book in the Nevernight trilogy, Nevernight Chronicle, whatever you want to call it. But I read Nevernight in August. Absolutely adored it. You can hear my full thoughts on that in my wrap-up video. But actually, you can hear my full thoughts on all of these, because I also read God's Grave, and as of filming this I am halfway through Dark Dawn, but I will have finished it and I will have talked about it in that video. Like I said, I'm really loving this series. It's about Mia Corvere, who as a child witnessed her father being executed after he was betrayed by people that he thought he trusted, and she grows up vowing vengeance. She ends up trying to join a society of assassins, which is known as the Red Church, and the first book is all of her sort of training to become an assassin, and then the rest of the books follow her on her sort of vengeance mission and her finding out a little bit more about what might have happened all those years ago. And like I said, I'm very much enjoying this series. I can't wait to finish filming so that I can go and read this one and finish it. To be honest, I was like 100, maybe 150 pages into Nevernight, and I had to order these to arrive the next day so that I could carry on reading and not have a break, because I just wanted to devour the entire series, and that is exactly what I'm doing. And then the last book that I got, although I will say actually I am expecting one more book to arrive before the end of the month, because my Illumicrate box is due to arrive on Tuesday, which is the 31st, but I have not got time to be filming this after the 31st, so I'm just going to add that one onto my September haul instead. But the last book that I received as of filming this video is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. So this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but it's set in the 1920s in Shanghai, and I have had my eye on it for a while, as I've said with quite a few of these ones. I knew I was interested in it, and especially when everyone was getting like the Pretty Fairy Loot edition, I think it was. I looked at possibly buying one of those, but people asked for a lot of money for them. So I left it. I wasn't sure if I was going to pick it up because I don't know. I just wasn't sure if I was that interested in it. And then the sequel's coming out soon, and I've decided that I really actually do want to read it. So I decided to pick up this. I also then ended up getting approved for an e-arc at the sequel, so I should probably read this one sooner rather than later so that I can read the e-arc before the second one comes out. But yeah, very excited about this. It's not the Fantasy Fairy Loot one, but it's still just a beautiful book, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this one will be added to my TBR soon. So that's everything that I bought during the month of August. That is a lot of books. The question is, do I try and pick all of these up? Well, we're going to attempt it. I can actually pick them all up, but I can't fit in the frame at the same time. This is the stack of books that we are dealing with. Okay. See, when I had them next to me, you can literally see them on the side of the camera. Let's rectify that, shall we? So yeah, I most definitely have a book buying problem. But like I said, I've read a few of these, and I do plan on reading the other ones shortly. Like, they are top of the TBR type books. There's not many that I've bought that I think are going to sit on a shelf for a while. I can probably like one or two. So I think I'm doing okay. I mean, it's making me happy. It's fine. That's the way I'm saying it. This is my version of self-care. Buying myself pretty books is my version of self-care. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Let me know how many books you bought during the month of August. Is there anything really beautiful that you've hauled? Do you have a book buying problem like I do? Please tell me I'm not alone in this. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye.